So guys, it's finally time! We are officially going to be talking about the second most requested character that people have been asking me to talk about in these theory videos, being Geno from Super Mario RPG. Now there are a ton of people firmly on both sides of the fence. There are people that say that they absolutely think that Geno is the best chance of making it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and there are people who say he has absolutely no chance. So we are going to go over all the evidence for and all of the evidence against Geno in today's video. So guys, with all of that out of the way, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and start talking about Geno. So first of all guys, let's go ahead and talk about Geno's origin. So Geno is one of the two original party member characters from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, the first Mario RPG title. Geno is a warrior from Star Road who allies himself with Mario, Princess Peach, Bowser, and Mallow on their quest to defeat Smithy. Geno's true form is enigmatic, represented in game by a small star as an agent of the Star Road. He is implied to be an angel-like being who claims to serve a higher authority. His true name is given as Heart Music Sign, which he describes as hard to pronounce, so he suggests using Geno, the name of the doll that he has chosen to possess. Due to the Super Mario RPG having been developed by Squaresoft, its original characters are owned by them rather than Nintendo, despite the fact that these characters were created for the Mario series and not for any other franchise. As a result, they have made very few appearances in other media. Geno's only game appearance after his debut was in a brief cameo role in Mario & Luigi's Superstar Saga in the minigame Star Stash Smash, with a quick mention of Square Enix as the copyright holder in the game's credits. Notably, this cameo was removed in the game's remake, presumably for licensing reasons. Now let's go ahead and talk about him in Smash. So in Super Smash Bros. 4, Geno appears as the basis of a downloadable content costume for Mii Gunners. Nintendo also released a QR code for those who wish to have the exact Mii costume used in the costume's advertising. The Geno costume was released simultaneously with Cloud, Midgar, and the Chocobo hat, collectively introducing Square Enix content to Smash. Also alongside with this guys, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, for those of you guys who didn't know, Masahiro Sakurai actually wanted to add Geno as a playable character since the development of Super Smash Bros. Brawl due to him thinking of his arm cannon as a factor for his uniqueness and acknowledge the character's popularity. The reason why he has never been added is unknown. So now let's go ahead and talk about Geno in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So Geno appears as a profile icon in the game's online mode and also appears as a spirit in the game's adventure mode, World of Light. His spirit battle has the player fighting Sheik, representing Geno himself, along with Mario, Peach, Bowser, and a gray Kirby which represents Mallow, who comprise the primary cast from Super Mario RPG. He is a Legend class spirit and can be found in the Light Realm's outer space section in the map's northern portion. So now let's go ahead and talk about the evidence against Geno joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So first of all, probably the biggest argument I see against Geno is that he is a character owned by Square Enix, and Square Enix and Nintendo are not on the best of terms. However guys, if that were true, then why do we have two Square Enix characters in Smash Ultimate? We have Cloud Strife, who's joined in Super Smash Bros. 4, and we also have the hero from Dragon Quest, which recently released in July, so I don't think that's true. Yes, I do understand that Square Enix was very picky with what they sent Cloud along with. Obviously, we got one stage and like 2 songs or something like that, but that doesn't really matter because with the hero, we got a ton of new music, we got a bunch of different versions of the hero, so I definitely think they're on better terms. Another big argument I see a lot is that since we already got one character from Square Enix, that means we're not going to get another one. However guys, once again, this is another case of a fan-made rule, as Sakurai has never explicitly come out and said this. In fact, not only do we have multiple characters from the same company, we have multiple characters from the same game franchise. We have Ken and Ryu, we have Simon and Richter, and a couple other ones, so once again, that is just a fan-made rule. And finally guys, another argument that I've been seeing for a while now is that since Geno is a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that means that he cannot be a playable character. Now, I used to believe this as well, but I do think that until Sakurai comes forward and says, like, yeah, like if you have a spirit in Smash Ultimate, you can't be a DLC character, I definitely still think that Geno's on the table. So now let's go ahead and talk about the evidence that's pointing towards Geno joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, just because I think that there is a lot more evidence for than against him. Now, the first, and probably in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons why I think he has a chance of joining is his infamous Mii costume. Now, like I said earlier in this video, Geno had a Mii costume in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, and this costume was extremely unique because not only did it signify that Sakurai did want to put Geno in the game in some form, but this Mii costume was actually the only one that ended up getting a splash screen. Now, if you guys don't know what a splash screen is, basically, whenever we get the announcement of a brand new character and they show off the character model and the words next to it, that is an example of a splash screen. Of course, I'll put a couple of examples up on screen, but Geno's Mii costume was the only one to get that. Now flash forward to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Geno's Mii costume is mysteriously missing. Now obviously, Geno is a fan favorite character that a lot of people really want to see in the game, so it's a shock that we don't already have this character in Smash Ultimate, at least as a Mii costume, especially considering we just got our Square Enix character being the hero, and a lot of people thought that we were going to see that Mii costume appear alongside this new playable character. Now, another interesting thing that we have to go ahead and talk about is, for those of you guys who didn't know, Nintendo actually went forward and copyright striked a bunch of music that came from Super Mario RPG. Now, we actually saw this happen with Banjo-Kazooie, where they copyright striked a bunch of different music from Banjo-Kazooie, and then they put a trademark on the character's name, so that way they could add him into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and at the time, a lot of us were like, maybe it's a new Banjo-Kazooie game, but I think we all knew that he was going to join the battle, and now we're seeing that happen with Geno. Now, this isn't definitive proof that Geno's going to be joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is possible that maybe they're going to remake Super Mario RPG or something like that, but I just think that since it already happened with Banjo-Kazooie, it is extremely possible that it could also happen with Geno, and he could be joining very soon. Now, another big piece of evidence is, like I said earlier, Sakurai originally wanted to add Geno into Super Smash Bros. Brawl because he thought the character was extremely unique. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I personally think that Sakurai is a genius when it comes to designing characters. I mean, he made a moveset for a piranha plant, which is just a plant that walks around in a pot, so obviously he can make movesets for basically anyone, and the fact that he specifically mentioned Geno by name, that means something to me. Now, yes, I understand that there was obviously complications with the licensing and stuff like that, but that doesn't really matter. Sakurai has found ways to get Ryu, Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Simon Belmont, all of these great third-party characters in the game, and work around that copyright. And considering that Geno hasn't been used for over 10 years, you guys have to remember that similar to Banjo-Kazooie, Geno is a character that is not an integral part of Square Enix. Although they do own the rights to Geno, if they aren't using this character, that means he's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and Nintendo would probably offer them a pretty good amount of money to let them use them in the game. Personally, I think that if Geno was a character that was owned by Nintendo, he would have been in Smash a long time ago, but now since he's owned by Square Enix, it is getting a little more difficult. However, guys, the absolute biggest reason why Geno has a chance to join Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is because people want him in the game. Similar to Ridley, King K. Rool, and Banjo-Kazooie, the Geno fanbase is one of the loudest. Personally, guys, I am super happy that we already got all three of those characters in the game, and I feel like Geno would be the perfect way to round off the fan-requested characters. There are tons and tons of people out there who want Geno in the game, and even people who have never played Super Mario RPG really want to see this character join in the game, because we have YouTubers like Papa Genos and myself who are very vocal about talking about this character. Guys, if you haven't played Super Mario RPG already, I highly recommend you do, because that's just going to make you want Geno even more. At the end of the day, though, guys, do I believe that Geno has a strong chance of making it into the game? Yeah, Geno is probably going to come to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I'm not sure when, but Geno is going to make it in at some point. I mean, Geno is a character that is beloved by millions and millions of Nintendo fans who are extremely vocal about him, and the fact that Sakurai has said before that he'd love to develop a moveset for him speaks absolute volumes about him as a playable character. However, guys, with all that being said, this is just a theory, so just remember to take all of this with a grain of salt. Yes, there is a ton of evidence pointing towards Geno joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but if he doesn't get in, don't get your heart broken. There's always a chance in the next game. However, guys, with all of that being said, let me know your thoughts about Geno in the comments section down below. Do you guys believe that Geno has a chance of coming to the game, or do you guys think that Geno is just never going to make it to Smash? Why or why not? Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, share, and like, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.